Get him.
This isn't fair.
Dan, get him.
Just because of trust issues. And she's not even hurting me either. You're the only one hurting me.
Do not take what
What's up everyone? So I'm a bit conflicted with this one. Project Winter on paper sounds like a lot of fun and I can see the potential, but there's just a few issues that I had with this game. Before we get into all that though, let's find out what Project Winter is all about. Project Winter is an 8-person multiplayer game focusing on social deception and survival. Communication and teamwork is essential to the survivors' ultimate goal of escape. Gather resources, repair structures and brave the wilderness together. Think Among Us, but instead of being in outer space you're stuck on top of a snowy mountain. Cross-platform play is also available between PlayStation, Switch and Microsoft users currently, with an update for Steam coming soon. The simple visual art style works for this title and helps to keep the tone feeling quirky and inviting. There is also some good use of sound, especially the times when you might be stuck inside the cabin with the sound of a snowstorm outside, giving the player a sense of claustrophobia and danger. When you start, you're assigned to a team, either part of the survivors or the traitors. Survivors must try to escape and you get a higher score for each survivor that escapes. The traitors on the other hand must gain the survivors' trust, be sneaky and sabotage or kill them. For each survivor that escapes, they will receive a score penalty. The controls are simple enough, with the left stick assigned to movement, the A button to interact or pick up objects, and the ZR button used for attacking or using items. You can't control the camera, and the right stick can also be used for aiming when you're using projectile weapons. Unlike with Among Us, where you can quickly jump into a quick gaming session and be done fairly quickly, with Project Winter, because you're having to manage your health, warmth and hunger, things become a bit more in-depth and games can take a much longer time to complete. You also have global events such as snowstorms that will hamper your progress, and you need to wait them out inside the cabin, which is your safe house that you begin in. Whilst being in the cabin, players also won't be able to attack or deploy traps. Players can use the voting box to exile other players from the cabin, and no access to the cabin will make it much harder for that player to survive. There's a lot of tactics that come into play in Project Winter, and because of this it makes each match a little bit more intense and more focused. Okay, so all sounds good so far, right? Well, my first problem came about when I went to find a match. Trying to find one in my region was non-existent, and this left me with no other choice than to choose another region that had some active lobbies in them and they were also accepting randoms to join them. As this game relies heavily on communication, you can't just choose a lobby where the players aren't speaking the same language as you, or you have no idea what's going on, even more so than normal.
Score shooter. We could get him if we all go out at once.
Once I did get into a game, I found myself wandering around aimlessly while all the other players scattered off to do, well, I actually don't know what they were doing, but the main objective seemed to be being ignored. The next thing I knew, I was being hacked to death. This was almost a similar experience to each of the games that I played. Don't get me wrong, there is a tutorial and modes where you can get to grips with all the gameplay mechanics, but once you're put into a match with other players, unless there is some proper communication, it all becomes a bit of a free-for-all, and the team usually ends up losing, if you're one of the survivors that is. Project Winter is a game best played with friends, and everyone needs to have a headset to chat. The keyboard function just isn't good enough to be used for communicating, especially when you're running out of time or down to your last bit of health. To me, Project Winter has a potential to be a fun party game, but I've found that unless you have the right conditions, such as a group that you usually game with and a headset, then you might just end up feeling a bit bored. Hopefully now that it's on the Switch and with cross-platform play coming to Steam, perhaps more players will be on and you'll have a better chance of finding more interesting matches. With the lack of any single player features too, you'll need to be a fan of online games like Among Us to really get the most out of this one. If you're not, then I'm not so sure that I'd recommend it to you, as you'll get bored fairly quickly. Project Winter is available now on the Nintendo eShop and will set you back $17.99 in the UK and $19.99 in the US. Have you played Project Winter? What did you think about it? Sound off in the comments below. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.